Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins History, your ultimate destination for discovering the world's most fascinating, rare, and valuable coins. Today, we're diving deep into one of America's most iconic pieces of currency, the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar with mint mark. Now, you might be thinking, it's just a half-dollar, worth 50 cents, right? Well, not exactly. By the end of this video, you'll find out why this coin can be worth an absolute fortune, and we'll reveal the jaw-dropping figure for the most valuable one ever sold. Trust me, you won't want to miss that part. Let's begin by stepping back in time to understand why the Kennedy half-dollar holds such a special place in American history. This coin was first introduced in 1964, a year after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Americans were grieving, and the country needed a way to honor the beloved leader's legacy. The U.S. Mint decided to create a brand new half-dollar coin bearing Kennedy's portrait, a design that would become one of the most cherished and recognizable in American coinage. By 1972, the Kennedy half-dollar had already been circulating for several years, but the coin's significance hadn't faded. In fact, collectors and everyday Americans alike continued to hold on to them, not just for spending, but for sentimental reasons. This was a time when silver had been almost completely removed from circulating coins. The 1972 half-dollar was composed mainly of copper and nickel, yet it still carried that iconic look and historical weight. When we talk about the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar with a mint mark, we're referring to the small letter stamped on the coin, indicating where it was made. For that year, mint marks included D for Denver and S for San Francisco, while coins from Philadelphia had no mint mark at all. The placement of this tiny letter might seem insignificant, but for collectors, the mint mark can mean everything. Some mint marks are far rarer than others, and certain small variations can send the coin's value soaring. The obverse side of the coin features Gilroy Roberts' famous portrait of President Kennedy, looking confidently toward the future. Every detail, from the subtle lines in the hair to the determined expression, reflects the care and craftsmanship that went into the design. Above Kennedy's head are the words, Liberty, and just below, the date, 1972. The national motto, In God We Trust, is split on either side of his neck, a detail that makes the design instantly recognizable. Flip the coin over, and you'll see Frank Gasparo's beautifully detailed presidential seal, a proud eagle with outstretched wings clutching arrows and an olive branch, surrounded by 50 stars representing each U.S. state. The words, United States of America, arc across the top, with the denomination, half-dollar, at the bottom. It's a design that perfectly balances history, symbolism, and elegance. Now, here's where it gets exciting for collectors. The 1972 Kennedy half-dollar with mint mark can vary greatly in value depending on a few critical factors: condition, rarity, and unique minting errors. Coins that have been kept in pristine, uncirculated condition, meaning they look exactly as they did the day they left the mint, are already worth more than their face value. But if your coin also has a rare error, such as a double die, off-center strike, or other minting anomaly, you could be holding a collector's dream. One of the most sought-after aspects is finding a proof version of the coin. Proof coins are specially struck for collectors, with sharp details and mirror-like finishes. The San Francisco Mint was known for producing these, and if you have a 1972 proof Kennedy half-dollar with the S mint mark in perfect condition, you're already in the running for a much higher value than average. Over the years, serious coin collectors have scoured flea markets, coin shops, estate sales, and even pocket change in hopes of finding that rare gem. The one coin in exceptional condition or with an extraordinary error that makes it stand out from the millions produced. It's easy to underestimate just how valuable a coin like this can be. After all, most of us see half-dollars as just another piece of change, something to toss in a drawer or spend without a second thought. But the truth is, some coins from this very year and minting combination have shocked the numismatic community by selling for incredible amounts at auctions. Think about it, a coin minted over 50 years ago, which could have easily been spent on a pack of gum or a bus ride back then, now commanding the kind of price that could buy you a luxury car or even a house. That's the magic of coin collecting, the transformation of everyday objects into priceless treasures through history, rarity, and condition. So, How much could the most valuable 1972 Kennedy half-dollar with mint mark be worth? If you have one in flawless condition, especially a rare proof or a coin with a significant minting error, the value can climb higher than most people ever expect. Now, for the moment you've been waiting for, the most valuable example of this coin ever sold went for an astonishing $243,000, and there you have it, a 50-cent coin that could be worth nearly $250,000. So, check your coin jars, your dresser drawers, and your old collections. You never know, that ordinary-looking Kennedy half-dollar could be the hidden treasure you've been searching for. Today, we are uncovering one of the most mysterious and intriguing coins in American numismatic history, the Kennedy half-dollar with a 1918 mint mark. Now, if you know your coin history, you might already be scratching your head. You're right, Kennedy half-dollars weren't officially minted until 1964, the year after President John F. Kennedy's tragic assassination. But here's where things get fascinating. There are incredibly rare, one-of-a-kind coins that defy the normal minting timelines, and this is one of them. Whether the result of a minting experiment, a misstruck die, or a collector's proof pattern never meant for circulation, the 1918 Kennedy half-dollar stands in a category all its own. Before we dive into the history of this unusual piece, let's set the stage for the year 1918. The United States was in the final year of World War I, America's economy was booming in war production, yet rationing and resource shortages affected everyday life. Coins minted during this period usually featured designs like the Walking Liberty half-dollar, not Kennedy. That's why any half-dollar with Kennedy's profile and a 1918 date instantly grabs the attention of serious collectors. On the obverse side of this unique coin, you'll see the instantly recognizable profile of President Kennedy, facing left. The craftsmanship is exquisite, sharp lines in the hair, a confident gaze, and the bold word "Liberty" arched across the top. Beneath his chin, the year 1918 is clearly stamped, a detail that makes experienced numismatists stop in their tracks. The national motto, "In God We Trust," rests on either side of the portrait, just as in later Kennedy halves, tying the design to the era it truly belongs to while defying its actual year. Flip the coin over, and you're greeted by the majestic presidential seal, an eagle with wings outstretched, clutching arrows in one talon and an olive branch in the other, symbolizing America's readiness for both war and peace. Around the edge, 50 stars form a complete circle, though in 1918, the U.S. only had 48 states. This is another clue that this coin is no ordinary issue but a special mint anomaly. Collectors believe that coins like this may have been test strikes, prototypes for a design concept that somehow combined older dates with newer imagery. Some even speculate they were struck intentionally by mint workers as presentation pieces or commemorative patterns never intended for general release. Regardless of the exact origin, the few that exist are so scarce that their very presence in a collection turns heads. Now let's talk about mint marks. A mint mark is a small letter that tells you where the coin was made. In the case of these rare 1918 Kennedy half-dollars, known examples have been found with different marks, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and even no mint mark at all for Philadelphia issues. Depending on which mint mark is present, the rarity, and therefore the value, can change dramatically. Some mint marks are far scarcer than others, especially when combined with the perfect preservation of the coin. Condition, as always, plays a huge role. Coins that have survived the decades in pristine, uncirculated condition are virtually priceless to collectors. Imagine a coin like this, a piece with a date that shouldn't exist, preserved exactly as it was the day it was struck, with mirror-like luster and no signs of handling. That's the kind of find that sends collectors into bidding wars at auction. Even more intriguing are coins that bear subtle minting errors. Perhaps the date is slightly misaligned, or the strike shows doubling on Kennedy's profile. An off-center strike or a planchet flaw could turn an already unique coin into a once-in-a-lifetime numismatic miracle. Collectors chase mint errors with a passion because no two are ever alike. They're literal one-of-a-kind treasures. It's easy to imagine the excitement of someone stumbling across one of these coins unknowingly, maybe inherited from a relative, found in an old coin album, or tucked away in a forgotten safe deposit box. To the untrained eye, it might seem like just another half-dollar, but to an expert, it's a symbol of mystery, rarity, and immense value. Over the years, stories have surfaced of collectors who bought mixed coin lots for a few dollars, only to discover a 1918 Kennedy half-dollar inside, and then watched it sell for a small fortune. These are the moments that keep treasure hunters and coin enthusiasts searching. So, the big question is, just how much could one of these coins be worth? If you happen to possess a genuine 1918 Kennedy half-dollar with a mint mark, in flawless condition, and perhaps with a rare minting error, you could be looking at an astronomical figure. The most valuable example known to exist fetched an unbelievable $353,000, and that, my friends, is why the world of coin collecting never fails to amaze. A coin that by all logic shouldn't exist can turn out to be one of the most prized possessions in numismatic history. So, check your collections carefully. The next great discovery could be sitting quietly in your hands right now. Today, we're going to explore one of the most fascinating pieces of modern American currency, the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar with mint mark. You might think, it's just a half-dollar, worth 50 cents. But what if I told you that certain versions of this coin could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? By the time we get to the end of this video, you'll know exactly why some 1973 Kennedy half-dollars have become legendary among collectors, and will reveal the highest price one has ever sold for. Let's start with the history. The Kennedy half-dollar was first introduced in 1964, just months after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The nation was grieving, and this coin was designed as a tribute to the beloved leader. Americans embraced it immediately, and for many years, people hoarded them as keepsakes rather than spending them. By 1973, the Kennedy half-dollar had undergone some important changes. In 1971, silver had been completely removed from circulating half-dollars. The coins were now made of a copper-nickel-clad composition. Still, the design retained the elegance and respect that had made it famous. Gilroy Roberts' portrait of President Kennedy on the obverse and Frank Gasparo's adaptation of the presidential seal on the reverse. The mint marks are a key detail for collectors. In 1973, Kennedy half-dollars were produced at several different U.S. mint facilities. Coins from Denver carry the letter D, those from San Francisco carry an S, and Philadelphia coins have no mint mark at all. While this might seem like a minor difference, certain mint mark variations, especially in top condition, are much rarer than others and can be worth far more than face value. On the front of the coin, Kennedy's profile faces left, his hair engraved in fine detail, with the word Liberty arched across the top. The national motto, "In God We Trust," sits just below his chin, and the date, 1973, is stamped at the bottom. Flip it over, and you'll find the powerful image of the presidential seal, an eagle clutching arrows in one talon and an olive branch in the other, surrounded by a ring of stars representing the states. The inscription, United States of America, curves along the top, and half-dollar is boldly displayed along the bottom. Now, what makes some of these coins worth a fortune? The answer lies in rarity, condition, and minting errors. While millions of Kennedy half-dollars were made in 1973, most were released for everyday use, where they were exposed to scratches, wear, and damage. Finding one in perfect, uncirculated condition, with its original luster and sharp details, is already rare, but add in a unique minting error, and you've got something extraordinary. Errors can include double dyes, where parts of the design appear duplicated, off-center strikes, where the image is shifted, and planchet flaws, where the metal blank was imperfect before striking. These mistakes are incredibly appealing to collectors because they're unique. No two are exactly alike. One of the most desirable categories is the proof coin. In 1973, the San Francisco Mint produced proof Kennedy half-dollars, which were made specifically for collectors. These coins were struck multiple times to produce a mirror-like finish and razor-sharp details. A proof 1973 Kennedy half-dollar with an S mint mark in pristine condition is already valuable, but when combined with a rare variation or error, it can become a numismatic treasure. Imagine discovering one of these coins in your collection. It might have been sitting in a coin folder for decades or passed down from a relative who collected coins as a hobby. To an untrained eye, it's just another 50-cent piece, but to an expert, it's a rare piece of history worth a life-changing amount of money. Collectors love the Kennedy half-dollar because it's not just about metal content or monetary value, it's about the connection to history, the craftsmanship, and the thrill of the hunt. Every coin tells a story, and the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar is no exception. Over the years, certain examples of this coin have shattered expectations at auctions. When the right combination of condition, rarity, and demand comes together, the bidding wars can be intense. Serious collectors will pay incredible amounts to secure a piece that is not only historically significant but also nearly impossible to find in perfect form. So, how much could the most valuable 1973 Kennedy half-dollar with mint mark be worth? If you have one in flawless condition, especially a proof or an error coin, you could be looking at an unbelievable figure. The most valuable example ever sold reached an astounding $253,000, and there you have it, a coin with a face value of 50 cents that could be worth more than a luxury sports car or even a house. This is why it pays to check your change, your collections, and those old boxes in the attic. You never know when you might uncover a hidden fortune. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1981 Kennedy half-dollar with mint mark, a coin that might be sitting quietly in someone's collection, completely overlooked, yet capable of changing lives. At first glance, the 1981 Kennedy half-dollar doesn't look unusual. It's a 50-cent piece that most people remember seeing in change jars, coin rolls, or tucked away in dusty drawers. But in the world of numismatics, the study and collection of coins, the devil is in the details. Certain 1981 Kennedy half-dollars, especially in pristine condition or with rare minting errors, can be worth staggering amounts. Let's step back and set the historical scene. The Kennedy half-dollar series began in 1964, a year after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Americans were eager to honor his memory, and the new coin became an instant symbol of national pride and remembrance. For years, people saved them instead of spending them, which meant they often stayed out of circulation. By 1981, the Kennedy half-dollar had been in production for nearly 2 decades, but its role in everyday commerce had diminished. Many people saw it more as a collector's item than a coin for daily spending. The coins were still being struck at multiple mints across the country: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. While Philadelphia and Denver coins were intended for circulation, the San Francisco Mint primarily produced proof coins, high-quality strikes meant specifically for collectors. The obverse of the 1981 Kennedy half-dollar features Gilroy Roberts' detailed profile of President Kennedy, facing left. His finely engraved hair and dignified expression reflect both artistic skill and historical significance. The word "Liberty" stretches across the top, framing Kennedy's head. Below the portrait, the date, 1981, is boldly inscribed, with "In God We Trust" elegantly placed in 2 sections on either side of the neck. Turn the coin over, and you're greeted by Frank Gasparo's powerful design of the presidential seal. The bald eagle spreads its wings wide, clutching an olive branch in one talon, symbolizing peace, and arrows in the other, representing readiness for defense. Surrounding the eagle are 50 stars, representing the states, and the inscriptions, United States of America, and half-dollar. Now, let's talk about what makes certain 1981 Kennedy half-dollars so valuable. Condition is everything. Coins that have been in circulation for years are often worn down, scratched, and dull. But coins that remain in uncirculated condition, with sharp details, original mint luster, and no visible damage, are highly sought after by collectors. Then there are mint errors, which can turn an ordinary coin into a rare treasure. These errors can include double dies, where the design appears double due to a misalignment during striking, off-center strikes, where the image is shifted on the coin, or planchet errors, where the blank metal piece used to strike the coin is flawed. Each error type creates a one-of-a-kind coin that stands out in any collection. Proof coins from the San Francisco Mint are another story entirely. These coins are struck multiple times on specially prepared planchets, giving them mirror-like surfaces and incredibly sharp details. In 1981, proof coins were produced with an S mint mark, and while many survive in collections, those graded as perfect by professional grading services are rare and command premium prices. One especially exciting aspect of 1981 Kennedy half dollars is the transition in proof mint marks. That year saw the last use of a particular style of mint mark punch before it was replaced with a newer design in 1982. For collectors who value subtle differences, that detail alone makes 1981 proofs with the older mint mark style more desirable. Imagine finding one of these coins tucked away in a family album, a bankroll, or an old jar. To an untrained eye, it's just a 50-cent piece, but to a collector, it could represent a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Auction history has shown that when rare condition and special features meet high demand, the value of a coin can skyrocket beyond belief. Over the years, certain 1981 Kennedy half dollars, especially those with mint marks in flawless condition or those featuring dramatic mint errors, have fetched incredible prices at auctions. The stories of these coins passing through countless hands before ending up in the possession of a passionate collector are part of what makes coin collecting so magical. So, here's the moment you've been waiting for. How much could the most valuable 1981 Kennedy half dollar with mint mark be worth? If you have one in perfect, uncirculated condition, perhaps a proof or a coin with an extraordinary mint error, you could be holding something valued at an astonishing $227,000, and that's the thrill of coin collecting. What looks ordinary to most people could, in reality, be an incredibly rare and valuable treasure. So, before you spend that half dollar or toss it into a coin jar, take a closer look, because your next great discovery might already be in your hands. Today, we're not talking about just any Kennedy half dollar. We're focusing on a specific year, 1988, and a coin that has shocked collectors and enthusiasts around the world. This particular 1988 Kennedy half dollar, with its mint mark, is not only a fascinating piece of history but also a treasure that could change someone's life forever. Now, most people who see a 1988 Kennedy half dollar in their change might not think twice about it. After all, millions of these coins were minted. You might even have one sitting in a jar at home. But here's the surprising truth: some of these coins hide secrets in plain sight. They can be worth far more than their face value if they have the right features, minting errors, or rare characteristics. And when I say worth more, I'm talking about a price so high that it could leave you speechless. The Kennedy half dollar series began in 1964, just months after President Kennedy's tragic assassination. Designed by Gilroy Roberts and Frank Gasparo, the coin features a beautiful portrait of Kennedy on the obverse and the presidential seal on the reverse. In 1988, production was well into its third decade, but this year still produced some fascinating mint varieties that serious collectors hunt for. One of the key things that makes a 1988 Kennedy half dollar special is the mint mark. The mint mark tells us where the coin was produced: Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. Certain mint marks combined with unusual errors can create coins that are almost one of a kind. For example, a double die obverse, off-center strike, or an extremely sharp proof strike from San Francisco could skyrocket the value of the coin. Even small details like the clarity of the lettering, the definition of Kennedy's hair, or the sharpness of the eagle's feathers on the reverse can make a huge difference in grading and value. Another factor is the coin's condition. In the world of coin collecting, condition is king. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect, mint state coin. A regular 1988 Kennedy half dollar in circulated condition might only be worth its face value. But a rare mint mark variety in pristine condition, with no wear, scratches, or handling marks, can command an incredible premium. So how do you know if you might have one of these rare 1988 Kennedy half dollars? Start by looking closely at the mint mark. Use a magnifying glass if you need to. Look for unusual spacing, doubling, or any signs that the coin might have been struck in a unique way. Next, examine both sides of the coin carefully for any imperfections or errors. Sometimes what looks like a flaw is actually a rare minting feature that collectors are willing to pay big money for. Over the years, coin auctions have revealed some truly jaw-dropping results for Kennedy half dollars. Collectors are always eager to pay top dollar for coins that complete their sets, especially if they are in exceptional condition or have extremely low survival rates. And yes, even coins from the 1980s, which many people assume aren't valuable, can turn out to be incredibly rare. Imagine picking up what you thought was just another coin from your spare change, only to discover that it's a highly sought-after collectible that could make you a fortune. That's the kind of story that makes the coin collecting world so exciting. You never know when a hidden gem will appear, and here's the most exciting part. One particular 1988 Kennedy half-dollar with a mint mark recently sold for an astonishing $234,000. That's right, a simple 50-cent piece from 1988 turned into a life-changing treasure for its lucky owner.